Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Fierro. I am one of the academic advisors here at TTU K12. We did a new student orientation earlier this morning, but there were quite a few of you that did not get a chance to join. So I wanted to take this as an opportunity to go ahead and record a shortened version of that new student orientation. So that way you guys can all refer back to it if need be in the future. So I'm going to go through each slide, talk about everything that we discussed this morning. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your specific academic advisor. So we're just going to go over all of these agenda topics. It is welcome introductions, rules and processes, navigating Blackboard, textbooks, and STAR and EOC information. Some of our administrators here at Texas Tech K12, our principal, Carrie Moy, and then our assistant principal, Braxton Allison, and our superintendent, Scott Lucas. And then on that bottom row, Rhonda Kersey is another one of our assistant principals, and Kelly Brownfield is our special service director. And then as far as the TTU K12 Advising Team, we have Mrs. Brenda Shoup. She is our program supervisor. Alongside her is Mrs. Brittany Perez and Mrs. Shelley Montgomery. And then down there on the bottom is myself, Mrs. Taylor Fierro. And then we have Miss Carrie Rhodes and Miss Taylor Silvis. Taylor Silvis has just recently joined our team, and she will be taking over part of the alphabet, and we'll be reaching out to her corresponding students when she gets settled. So some of our rules and processes as far as attending TTU K12, we have some steps to success. Making a plan. The progress guide found in the syllabus of each course will assist in determining daily and weekly tasks. Once you get into your Blackboard, there's going to be a tab under the syllabus section that gives you the exact number of assignments that will need to be submitted in that specific course. Going through each of your courses and finding that progress guide will help you in determining how many assignments do I need to submit a week, especially in this specific class. Sticking to a schedule, even though we are very flexible as far as scheduling and planning, getting those assignments completed and submitted are really going to be a huge part of showing that you are attending your courses as you should. So no matter how self-motivated your children may be, or how self-motivated you may feel you are, please always use the support and guidance that you are offered and assistance with time management and making sure that you are staying on progress. If you are hesitant or even want some clarification on how well you are doing, you can always reach out to your advisor and ask for a progress report. Then that will give a detailed explanation to show how far along you are compared to the time that has gone by. Plan ahead and don't delay. So teachers are allowed up to 2 business days to grade their assignments. When you submit on the weekends, that teacher is not going to get back to it for the next, until the following week. And if you submit a large number of assignments at once because you waited until, the last week of the course to start submitting, the teachers are just going to be delayed in their grading. So it is very important that you are submitting your assignments as you complete them. And make sure you are checking your child's progress weekly to ensure that they are submitting the work as expected. Don't assume that they're actually making progress just because they're working on their computer. We do see that a lot, and it's very important that you are actually focusing and working with your students hands-on to make sure that they are submitting work as they should. As far as attendance and progress, each course lasts for about 180 days, which is approximately 6 months, but they are designed to be finished within 4 to 5 months. Attendance is defined by completing 5% of each course weekly in every 7-day period. So from Sunday to Saturday, that 5% of each course should be submitted weekly. There are a minimum of 4 courses required per semester in order to be considered a full-time student. And vacations can be requested, but they are not built into our program. So whether you decide you want to take a week off to go to Florida or 2 weeks off to leave the country, in order to show that you are ready and capable of taking that vacation period is by taking however long you plan to be off of school and using that to work ahead. So if you're going to be out for 1 week, you need to do an extra week's worth of work prior to leaving. So that way, upon your return, it's not going to show that you are behind, but right on progress. We do not offer any sort of course extensions. So getting to the end of your course, even if you need 1 day to submit your final exam, that's not going to be allowed because that's still not going to be enough time to allow you to go in, complete that final, and then for teachers to also go in and be granted that 2-day period that they're supposed to have to grade the final exam. So if you reach the end of your course, you will either have to re-enroll or repay for the course in order to complete that. And then lastly, failure to meet our minimum progress requirements may cause TTU K12 to implement truancy processes and result in removal from the program. This is not an immediate process. It will take a couple of weeks, even for the advisor and the student working together to determine maybe this program is not the best fit. We will never just remove the student without communicating with the student or the parent, but we will be sure to share this student is not working on progress. Some extra submissions need to be made in order to reflect that attempt to catch back up. If that attempt is not made, then they are deemed ineligible for the program. And then learning coach and parent expectations. Parents are, or a designated adult plays an active and important role in your child's education as a learning coach, especially in those younger grade levels, such as kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, all the way up until the end of middle school. That learning coach is really going to be a crucial component to our program, specifically because your child is going to need some sort of motivation and guidance to stay on track. So that learning coach is going to provide academic support and ensure your child is on track with assignment and coursework, communicate with teachers, counselors, and staff, and ensure that all attendance requirements are being met. If you have want any more information in regards to a learning coach and what that could be, you can look at that on our website. We have some frequently asked questions and some extra support information on there. And then for navigating Blackboard, this one is going to be a really beneficial for those who are especially just now getting started, are having trouble with logging in, kind of navigating the platform in general. Once it comes to logging into your focus, you're going to see that sign into Blackboard link right there on the left-hand side. If you do not see that sign into Blackboard link, that means your account is either not active or those courses have not yet pushed through. If it's the day that your courses are supposed to become active and you still don't see that sign into Blackboard link, please reach out to your advisor. They'll always be able to go in and check to see what may be preventing those from popping up. So after you log into your focus, you'll always use that Blackboard link in order to access your coursework, anything like that. You won't be able to go to focus, or you won't be able to go to Blackboard and use your credentials there. You will always have to use the sign into Blackboard link. Once you get into Blackboard, you'll see that this is your student dashboard. Up there at the top, it'll have your institution classes. Ultimately, the only tabs that you're ever going to use are the student dashboard or the classes. And right here are where your class lists or your courses will be found. Each course will have its own set of individualized information and requirements. So again, going back to that progress guide that gives you that 5%, you'll find that within each course. Once you are able to go in and select a course, you'll be able to see the syllabus, all of the coursework, the My Grades, messaging your teacher, and the announcements tab. So that My Grades will show all of the submitted, graded, and in-progress assignments, along with any feedback that the teacher gives. The messages will show you directly how to message your teacher, and you'll also be able to have the opportunity to message other students as well, but mainly this is used for communicating back and forth with your teacher specifically. And if you want that face-to-face interaction with your teacher, they do offer open office hours, and now those can be found within the announcements tab. So before we continue on with Proctorio, I do want to kind of go over what the actual sign into Blackboard would look like. So when you actually get a chance to sign into Blackboard, you'll see your course list. And once you click onto the course, it will bring up that course page. So click on the syllabus and you'll be able to see the progress guide for Astronomy 1A. And then it brings up a PDF that gives the total number of assignments, that 5%, and then the total number of weeks that you will have to complete it. When you are determining how many assignments I want to finish a week, that is ultimately going to be rounded up to 3. That's just enough to get you to finish within 20 weeks. If you want to finish within 15 weeks, you'll have to submit more than that minimum number. And every single course number is going to change. You're not going to have the same number of assignments to submit within each course. Every single course will have a different number of assignments that will need to be submitted weekly. So going back to this page, if you click the My Grades tab, this is one of my favorite sections, mainly because it has every single assignment that will need to be submitted over the course of the semester listed here. It'll have a grade as to what the assignment is worth. There are even going to be some that are non-graded assignments, and they'll even include it right here, checkpoint 3, non-graded, unit 8. This is where I always recommend my students go if they're having trouble determining, well, what assignment do I submit next? Where do I begin? So this first assignment is Unit 1 Assessment Critical Thinking Questions. Once you go into the Units tab, you'll be able to locate Unit 1, and within Unit 1, you'll be able to find all of those Unit 1 assignments, including the quiz, discussions, and assignment activities. And then going to that announcements section, this is where the teacher's information and more so a biography or a hello will be listed, as well as their open office hours. Because this is a demo account, you're not going to see any teacher information here because there is not a teacher within this fake course. But ultimately, you will find the teacher's information along with their open office hours here. So going back to our presentation, give me a second to pull that up. Whenever you are taking a final exam, those are going to be taken through Proctorio. And Proctorio is our distance test capability to allow students to take those final exams from the comfort of wherever you are. All lessons, assignment, and checkpoints will have to be submitted and graded before students are allowed to take that final exam. So up until you are ready to take that final exam, if there are any assignments that have not been submitted or graded, that final exam is not going to appear until all of those conditions are met. When you go into Proctorio to take your final exam, the student will show a valid ID. This could be a school or a state issued ID, as long as it is a valid photo ID of the student, and it can't be more than a few years old. It has to really show what the student looks like now with their name visible, because the teachers will be checking those in order to determine whether it is the student taking the exam. So students are also not allowed to use any resources during the exam unless they are specified in the syllabus. And the student's face must be in full view during the exam. So when you go into Proctorio and you start to take your final, there will be a little window included in the exam that will show you what the teacher will see. So if you're just showing the top portion of your head, the teacher is going to know that you are aware of that, and they will pretty much just give you a 0. So it is very important that you are paying attention to what you are seeing, because that is exactly what the teacher will see as well. These exams are going to be recorded so that the teachers can go back and look at them. The teachers are not going to be on there live whenever your student is taking that exam. Students will be recorded, the teachers will watch that recording, and then it will be gone pretty much after that they finish the course. Proctorio cannot and will not access any personal files or documents. And then once the exam is complete, Proctorio no longer has access to that information, and none of its affiliates to view the exam recordings. That will only be our TTU K12 staff and the teachers. And Proctorio also never stores academic information for any of its users. Here are some samples of the student ID. We have our Texas Tech K12 student ID, a driver's license or a valid state ID, and a passport will also suffice. As far as textbooks go, for the tuition-free program, all textbooks and materials, if required, will be sent to the student email address provided in Focus within the first 1 to 2 weeks after the courses start. So if your courses are scheduled to start on August 1st, you should receive those books within this first week. If you get to week 2, say on Wednesday, and you realize, hey, we still haven't received anything, reach out to your advisor so they can check on that book order. And you can also check to see if your course requires a textbook within the syllabus of each course. I would recommend doing this because you're going to get 3 books out of the 6 classes that you're in, and you're going to reach out to your advisor and say, hey, I've only got 3 books, we're missing the other 3. Well, they're going to look and check the report and be able to tell you the other 3 courses do not require those textbooks. So you can eliminate a step by checking that syllabus to make sure that a textbook is in fact required. For the tuition-based program, if you go to the TTU K12 bookstore and select all of the enrolled courses, you'll be able to purchase any course materials that are required. And to find the books that are going to be needed for the course, you can go to the bookstore, and it's pretty step-by-step, self-explanatory. It'll say, let's get started. It'll allow you to choose which school your student is in as far as elementary, middle school, or high school. And then you're going to select all of the A portions of the courses. The B are going to be the same as the A, but for our elementary level courses, those B semester English will look a little differently as far as the little readings that the students have to do. So if you want to go ahead and purchase the A and the B books at the same time, you can. They are going to be good for 1 year. However, I would recommend for those A courses, select all of the A, and then for those B courses, select the B. For some STAR information, our tuition-free program and high schoolers are required to take the STAR and EOC. If you are in the free program or a high school student at all, these will be required, and there is not an option to opt out. If a student deliberately chooses to not attend these scheduled STAR exams without a valid reason, they will be subject to the risk of withdrawal from the program. We have to maintain and make sure that our students are attending those exams. In order for our free program to be the way that it is, our students still have to get tested. We do have test sites that are arranged throughout the state of Texas, and our testing coordinator will be in touch with you in regards to where your student has been placed and when. So for grades 3 through 8, those are administered only one time a year, which is very important. And that is in the spring or the month of May. And then as for our high school students, these are given within the spring, so typically April and May, within the summer of June and July, and in the fall, which is the end of fall, there in December. So here are some sites that we have currently arranged all over Texas. These are subject to change, and we are more than likely going to add a couple more, but as of right now, these are our current scheduled sites. If you have any additional questions about something that I did not go over, you can reach out to your advisor specifically. If I'm your advisor, please reach out. If you don't know who to reach out to, you can always email ttuk12.edu and answer or ask any sort of question that you may have. We are always more than willing to help you guys out. We want you guys to succeed in our program, and hopefully this provides some clarity in helping you guys get started, especially being that everything is so new. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great semester.